We are live officially with the 10K Club, some of the members from the 10K Club. Now, some of you may recognize Crypto Moon Boy 69, also known as Boyan from the channel, Kasim, who's got a lot of love also on that interview I did with him on the YouTube. Tim as well, but we've got a few new faces. So we've got Alex, Anton, and Mike. Do you guys want to introduce yourself? Maybe like where you're from, like when you started your agency. Yeah.
Who wants to go for? Okay, I'll
Well,
go.
Anton,
well,
Anton, you go first. You go
Go
first.
ahead.
I've been here once. I've been having a call with you guys once, so some of you might already know me from before. But I can introduce myself again. I don't mind. So,
Well, because we're doing YouTube as well. That's why.
YouTube. Okay, okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
I mean, just to tell a bit more about myself. Just for people who don't know anything about me. So, came to the UK 2.5 years ago. Didn't speak English. Started my agency in January 2020. Since then, the journey has been, very tough. But this year, 2021, has been the biggest so far. So it took me a year to figure everything out, to figure everything out, and to get the ball rolling, but not bit by bit, just to roll it properly, right? For to make some significant income. And right now, everything is going well. April, which is last month, was my biggest month ever. So that's very good. Obviously, agency has been going very well. Coaching has been doing very well. It's my just side hustle, and crypto trading has been going very well. But they just all crashed. So yeah, May crypto related will not be great for me. But as I said, it's not a business. Agency is the focus. I'm doing well, and the goals are big. Plans are big, and yeah, that's basically it.
All right. Now we've got Mike, who's also got a very interesting story. I mean, you have a really big ecom brand on the side as well. So yeah, if you
yeah.
want to talk about.
So my name is Mike Esiobu. I started the agency life in maybe 2019, I believe. I used to work at a corporate job. I did some stints in the National Football League. So then met Jaime about last year sometime. Really helped me systemize everything in my agency. And I would believe January, this whole year has been kind of like my biggest month at agency side. I also do a lot of other things on the side. Just kind of, I feel like for my agency, kind of just fuels my lifestyle. So I do photography. I'm also part of a clothing brand, and we kind of blew up last year in March off TikTok. So yeah, that's pretty much what I do.
Dope, dope, dope. So for those of you watching, the 10K Club, what it is basically all the mentees that have gone through my mentorship, and have gone from in most cases 0 to just smash the 10K Club and well above that. So this is going to be a little mastermind. A few of the topics that we're going to cover, because obviously you guys are watching, you want to know if there's going to be some juicy bits. The answer is yes. There's going to be a lot of juicy bits, and we're going to talk sales goals. We're going to talk hiring. We're going to talk, that first client, how that came about, and some of the roadblocks that these guys had to overcome. Because if to get to the top, you have to obviously overcome a few obstacles, right? So we're going to talk all about that. We're going to talk about signing that the e-com agency, right? So the benefits of it, some of the things that they've seen compared to the local business route. Then we're also going to talk about lifestyle routines. There have been a few mentions of crypto. So we're also going to talk about where these guys are putting their money and how they manage it once they make it. So yeah, I mean the first thing that I want to talk about is signing that first client, right? So if you guys, again, it's a very casual conversation. That's kind of how I would like to roll here. But if anyone, if one of you want to have like a little chat over what really helped you with that first client. Maybe it was a sales goal thing. Maybe it was like, something that a mindset that you incorporated when you signed that first client. That would be, very valuable for people watching this. Kasim, do you want to take it away? Oh, or Alex, you go.
Yeah, I would love to, man. I would love to. So in my opinion, my first client, why it was
But
successful.
volume is a bit low though.
Okay, so I'll talk a little bit louder. Is it right for you this way?
Yeah,
Yeah,
go.
my apologies.
Shoot.
So the thing is that for me it was passion, right? I thought what knowledge about was snowboarding, and my first clients were snowboard clients, which is
Okay.
quite easy for me because I had passion, I had the equation, I had the connection already. So I went just into the shops, I had a pitch ready, and when I went in, you immediately had this connection with the client, and that actually
Okay.
convinced them to immediately go for the sale, right? So the passion, finding the passion in your first client, finding like what you knowledge about is so crucial in getting your first sale ready, in my opinion.
Okay. So basically, be knowledgeable about the space that you're currently in, right? So that you can
Exactly.
resonate with them. Is there anything else, for example, Boyan, right? That because I know that you had a bit of a different journey because you went ecom first, right? So is there anything like that that really helped you with that first client? What are some of the mindsets that you've implemented for that first client to sign that first client?
For me, I mean, I signed my first client before I started working with Jaime. But I guess it was like the systems were just pretty sloppy. But I was like super dedicated because I had just dropped out of university. And it was like really in my head, even though this wasn't really quite reality, it was more like make or break for me. So I just knew that I was gonna make this work, and I was gonna put every ounce of my existence into it. And yeah, I actually got quite, I'd say, lucky in the sense that it didn't take me as many reps to get my first client as many other people, but that second client definitely tested my patience in the sense that it really tested my systems. It really tested just like how persistent I was with it, because I feel like getting success too quickly is kind of like a hindrance in it of itself, because it kind of sets your expectations wrong when it comes to business, in the sense that, oh, I managed to get my first client like in this amount of time, so surely the next client would come to me quicker, and then quicker and quicker. Whereas it's like that whole thing where it's like success becomes the reason why you fail. But yeah.
That's a really good point. What are some of the, because maybe you guys have like struggled with this as well, right? You get successful with something, right? And then one of the hardest things is not, having more success. Well, is maintaining that level of success, right? And not get complacent and keep leveling up. What are some of the things that help you guys to continue leveling up? And is there any like example or experience that you guys have had that you hit this milestone and then now the hardest thing is like to continue to reinvent or find the motivation to keep going?
Yeah, dude, definitely. Like for I don't know if anyone else has experienced this, but I kind of experienced this big time, and it's kind of still something I'm like battling, because I don't know. I'm not like a very lifestyle guy, in the sense that I don't really need too much to just live really well. So it got to the point where I was making, I don't know, like 3 to 8 times what I needed a month to live, and I was just like, oh, why even push? Because I was way too attached to the money aspect of things, and to an extent, I still am. Like, I think I'm still trying to like shake that scarcity mode, in the sense that it's just like going after it because of the money. But yeah, once I get rid of that, it's like just focusing on building cool stuff. Then I feel like I would really fly.
I'd say another thing for me, when it comes to when I like saw quick success, I saw really quick success. So obviously the main thing that drives your success in an agency is probably outreach. So that's probably the biggest thing. Like if you're not doing outreach when you're starting out, then you're not going to sign clients. You're not going to get meetings. So the way you innovate yourself, innovate the agency, when you start seeing success, is it enables you to start doing things like hiring the right team, setting up systems with people rather than actually doing it yourself. So that's how I innovated. Obviously, when I saw a lot of success, that's a lot of money for my age. I don't need that much money, so I didn't have a lot of motivation to keep going because I didn't need more money. Like there's no need for it for me. So the biggest thing that stopped me from slowing down and that kept me growing at the same rate was as soon as I saw some success enough for me to hire a team, I hired the right team to systemize everything that I was doing before. So, for example, when I started out for like a long time, I was doing all the outreach myself, all the limbs myself, everything myself. I didn't have any team members except for media buyers. So everything I was doing myself. But then when I started to have money, I started to realize I can use this money to hire people rather than doing it myself. So I started to hire people to do. I started hiring VAs. I started hiring people to do. Now I recently just started to hire people to do limbs for me. So the first step that I took was to hire people to do. For example, lead sourcing is a very like monotonous task. It's very boring. It takes hours, but you have to do it when you start out because who else is going to do it? So after I saw a little bit of success, I straight away found somebody to do my lead sourcing for me. I trained them in exactly the way that I did it. I did it for me. That was my first bit of automation. After that, it was about hiring a VA to take care of like all the day-to-day tasks. Especially with all my, so I have, it's going to get a bit too much into detail, but I have 3 services: paid ads, email marketing, and social media management. So I kind of eliminated myself from all of those services. So I only did the stuff that I wanted to do. So for social media management, it's a very, like, if you do that yourself, you're really just hindering yourself in the long run. So I hired the right team to manage that. So that now is a service that I don't have to be involved in whatsoever. Same with email marketing. I'm involved in it somewhat. And the paid ads, obviously, I'm involved with it as much as I want to. Like, I create the strategy, I'm in there all the time, and all that. But I never need to go into the ad accounts. Like, I've not been into the ad accounts for months and months. I just look at the reporting ecosystem, give feedback, and kind of create the strategy. And then now, recently, like I said, the next innovation is to hire. What I've done is I hired like university students, girls in particular, to do limbs for me. So I was doing limbs myself. So I've now gone on. Sorry about the noise. So I've now gone on to hire 4 girls to do them for me. That was the next. That's like the next biggest thing with automation for me. So that's now my agency pretty much automated except from sales calls.
Yeah, and the email marketing, right, and the social media management paid ads. You're offering different clients these, or it's like upselling, or
No,
you
so
go,
yeah, I mean,
hey, here's email marketing. Hey, let me offer, let me do social media management.
yeah. So obviously the main service, I don't really promote email marketing as like my main service. So paid ads is my main service. Like when I do outreach, is paid ads that I'm promoting. I'm not promoting or like selling anything else. So obviously when it comes to email marketing, especially, that's very much an upsell for me right now. I want to change that a tiny bit and maybe try to branch out into more email marketing because I'm not like too much of an expert in it. But I want to change that. With social media management, it's all done through Upwork. So Upwork, all of my clients for social media management came through Upwork. So I built a system with that. So the whole social media management side of my agency, that's all managed by somebody else. Like the getting clients is managed by the VA. The calls, obviously, I do. Sometimes a manager does. The service is completely not outsourced, but so the way I did it is I found like somebody who was very experienced in social media management. She is my manager of that team. So she takes care of all the clients. She takes care of the team, manages the team, trains the team. And then under her are 3 junior social media managers. So that whole side of my agency is automated. And that was all done through Upwork. So yeah, sorry about the noise again. But yeah, paid ads is the one that I promote the most because it's the one that I enjoy the most, and it's the one that is the best. But then email marketing is more of an upsell. Social media management is just done through one platform, which is Upwork.
Nice. That is literally the definition of acting more of as a CEO, right? Than kind of like a headless chicken running around doing a lot of the service. 100%.
Yeah.
When it comes to because for example, you mentioned that Ria mentioned that it's hard to send concern about money, right? Because as much as you could say, you like building bullshit and all that. One of the main reasons for most people to get into business is partly speaking of money, right? So, are there any mindset, anything that has helped you guys detaching that need of money or making you as the main priority because now you've got the money, right? Or essentially, are there any mindsets that have helped you guys transcend that and start focusing on what truly moves the needle forward, which is building really cool shit and obviously, building things for the future.
Yeah. For me, what I think is you have to decide if you're one of 2 types of entrepreneurs. So there's like people who are serial entrepreneurs who care more about the business, building businesses rather than building. So the 2 types are serial entrepreneur and lifestyle entrepreneur. So lifestyle entrepreneur just wants to build a business that makes him enough money to live a lifestyle, to travel, digital nomad, whatever else. So that if you are that, nothing wrong with that completely. Like if you are that guy who likes lifestyle entrepreneurs, then nothing wrong with that. You go ahead and make 10 to 15K a month, be happy with it. I don't need to scale anymore. But if you start to make money and then you start to realize that I actually like the business and growing the business more than making money, because you already have that comfort of money is no longer like an obstacle for you anymore. So it's now more about scaling the agency, not for the case of making more money, but for the case of seeing it become a bigger thing. That's when you become a serial entrepreneur. So it's deciding which one of those two you are. For me, I'm a serial entrepreneur, so I like to build a business for the reason of I like to see it grow bigger and then move on to new businesses after I scale this one. So for me, like the money is no longer like an object for me. Like I don't really care about scaling the agency to a certain number in the next couple of months. I care more about signing really good clients and the money will follow in that kind of sense. So that if you do what is best for the business, and the money will always follow. But if you focus on the money, then you may not always do what's best for the business, because you might sign clients that aren't worth it in the long run. You might hinder yourself by doing different things that are just quick money but not long-term money, that kind of stuff. So you have to just decide which one you are, lifestyle entrepreneur, serial entrepreneur, and then go from there. You can then choose to do what you want to do from there.
Okay.
I think added on to that, and I felt this very recently with my businesses. I'm at 30K, but going to 40K, which is what I want to do, is not going to make a difference in my personal life, because I'm not going to pay myself more, and I'm not going to spend that money anyways. So you come to a point where making more money is not going to change you. It's just more stress, more work, etc. If things are not 100% automated. So your motivation really have to come from somewhere else, which was a struggle for me because, for a long time I was very money driven. And I think just redefining my vision and my mission with the whole business really helps me set goals, seeing what does that look like logistically, how many persons do we need to hire, how many, just working out all the numbers, reverse engineering the whole process. And I've been working on this very recently, and suddenly I feel a huge internal boost in getting up in the morning, working on this. My team feels exactly the same way, and there's just that fresh look from reiterating the vision that really drives us forward more so than just making money.
Are there any methods or any recommendations that you'd have, Tim, for people getting crystal clear on their mission, on their vision and mission for the business that they're starting?
I like to look. For me, I look in the steps of someone I look up to. So there are a couple of agencies that I really look up to, like The Future. I look very carefully at what VaynerMedia does in terms of strategy, and I just also really want to have a cool, badass company. Instead of just making a lot of money, I want people to look at my company and be like, damn, that's really cool what you're doing. So I like to look at people or businesses that I look up to and try to find what's winning for them or what's one thing that differentiates them, and then turn it into our own sort of product. So put our twist and brand it as our new thing. So I don't think you need to reinvent the wheel. It's just, look at what inspires you and, go from there. And, if it makes you happy and everything, then go for it.
Okay. Do you guys, Anton or Mike, do you want to add something to the money side of things, or
yeah?
I mean, have you transcended it at all? Because I do think, well, at least Anton, that when you started the business, and there's nothing wrong with it, right? When you started the business, I mean, that was the main focus, right? Making the money. Have you changed part of the mindset, or is it, I don't know. Has anything helped you? Anything that you've transcended?
Yeah, that's a very good question. So I did change, not 100%, because I think this has been something that has been following me for the whole life. All life I've been focusing on money. How to make more, just make more. Never say no to more. Whatever you have to do to make more, do it. That's something that I've been doing for years. And especially when I started this business, I was too focused on money. So the only focus I had was money, and obviously that's wrong because I had ups and downs, and that was a bit frustrating. And every time I would have every time I would have up and down, and every time I would make some money, and then the next month would go lower, I would realize again and again that if you are too focused on money, you actually won't get there. That's not the real way, right? And every single time I would make less than the month before, I would think to myself, maybe this is not the right way, and that change would come, step by step. Even right now, sometimes I catch myself caring about money more than I should, considering where I am right now. But I'm aware more than ever that if you want to build real things, money obviously should not be the priority, but building the real things and building the real business that will truly benefit the people, that will make your clients stay with you forever, right? So that should be the priority, and every day I'm more aware of that fact. So I did change, and I'm still working on a change, because I think that's something that you should always be reminding yourself of, that big businesses are built over the time, and when you're focused on a customer more than for the money. So I'm very aware, and I'm working on that every single day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for me too, it's kind of the same. I grew up in like low income housing, so making this type of money that I made is kind of like, oh shit, it's more money than I've ever made in my life. So, but taking myself out of that is where it's like, I never had it before, so it really doesn't it really doesn't matter anyway. So for me, my main thing is just like learning the processes of like how these other companies are running their businesses. And because my ultimate goal, just to be clarified, my ultimate goal is to have my own like direct to consumer product. So seeing how these companies are, they're spending millions of dollars a year on ads and making millions of dollars, and kind of taking little bits of that and trying to, build on that. So pretty much for me, it's just learning the processes along the way as helping them grow their business. I'm still learning stuff from them too.
Yeah. That's such a great point, man. Because I mean, again, one of the things that I preach a lot is like, you don't have to, right? But with an e-com agency, you can go ahead and it can be a launchpad for your D2C brands. Are there any like specific things that you've learned, Mike, during the journey so far that you've gone, oh shit, that's smart. Like I can probably apply this. I don't know, from a very smart e-com founder, right? I can probably apply this for my next D2C brand.
Are there any things I've learned? I think just
in a way of running the business, like the team, like anything.
Having the right, not wearing too many hats. So there's some companies that I've worked with where the CEO was literally the CEO. He was the person that that talked to me directly about the ad accounts. He was doing customer service in some part where it's like he wasn't delegating as much. And then I have clients that do that delegation really well. So I think the main thing is the delegation part of things, and just wearing that CEO hat and not trying to wear too many hats is just where I saw like the stark differences in between somebody that's really doing, even though both of them are doing fairly well, but you can tell one of them is a little more stressed, so to say. So it kind of makes it makes it harder to work with them. They're more, some things they might not be in the know of, or they want to know everything. So I think overall, just delegation was what kind of stuck out to me. Yeah.
Because speaking of delegation, I mean, I know all of you guys have delegated quite a bit from your plate. Obviously, there's this. So the question is twofold, right? The first one is, what are some of the things that you guys focus on that are like must for you every single day? And then the next question we'll talk about, what are some of the things that you're just super happy that you got rid of because it just wasn't moving the needle forward, and you just saw no value in it. So first, what are some things that are absolutely must that you must get done during the day, and that you focus most of the attention to move the needle forward in the business?
Me? Can I go?
Yeah, and there's no turns. It's a conversation.
So I mean, what I think is I mean, your business reflects on the person you are. That's what I truly believe in. And if you want your business to go up, obviously you as a person need to be a better person, better entrepreneur. So I always start from myself. How can I be better? How can I have better habits? How can I do more? And all that stuff. And what I realize is, that's working, right? Whenever I have a structured day, whenever I, have the, I mean, I'm not saying you have to, meditate for 3 hours a day, but I'm just saying that you have to have some, structure in your life to be a better person, an entrepreneur, obviously, so to get more done and to actually have more time to do other things and have that balanced. I mean, not balanced, giving 33% to every area, but he give 100% in every area, right? To work out, to do business, to even do personal development and read books and do everything that successful people do. That's start for me, right? When you have that, then you can go into the details about your business, what needs to change within the business. But obviously, before that, you need to change yourself as a person, because everything starts from there. So I've implemented that, and it's definitely working, because it's some of the things that's evergreen, right? It's just it's my opinion. That's my opinion, right?
Thanks.
Yeah, I mean, Kasim, you can take it.
I agree with what Anton said. Like, definitely a big part of your day should be focusing on improving yourself, not just the business, because your business will definitely it won't grow with it. You have to grow yourself to be able to see different perspectives on how your agency to grow, etc., etc. So growing yourself, fixing yourself is a big part of what your day should be. But for me, in terms of the agency, for the last maybe 4 months or so, I've been every day. It's just been about setting up systems, creating trainings, courses for my team, setting up SOPs, a lot of that. So that in order my whole agency is automated. So that's all pretty much done now. Pretty much maybe a couple of weeks more and it'll be completely finished. So what that involved was, for me, like I said, creating trainings, creating SOPs, creating playbooks for all different tasks in my agency, all different aspects of the agency and the operations. So that took a long time, because there's a lot of me on video. Pretty much, that was a lot of what I was doing, just talking, calls, videos, creating SOPs, etc., etc. So that should be a huge part of what you spend your time on within an agency. Just building systems, setting up everything so that at a point, when you finish building those systems, you can then have your agency automated. It should be one of your biggest priorities, especially even if you don't have any clients. Just focus on, obviously you have to do the stuff yourself. So if you have no clients right now or have a couple of clients, obviously you might be still doing some tasks yourself, like lead sourcing, doing the looms, doing the email outreach. So as you're doing that, go ahead and make sure you're making, as you go on, make trainings or playbooks or SOPs for every single part of the agency that you're working on. So for outreach, make an SOP on how to do your looms, or a training on how to do your looms. For lead sourcing, make a training on that. All this things, Upwork as well, make a training on that. Just make a training for every different part of your agency, so that when the time is right and when clients come in, money comes in, cash flow comes in, you can then begin to delegate and show new team members those trainings. So you pretty much are creating clones of yourself within the business. So that's one of the things I'm most proud of. Let's take on the second part of Jaime's question. I'm most proud of that. All of my team members are pretty much clones of myself. So they're doing all the tasks that I would have done, and the exact same way that I would have done it. So when I hire, I don't hire for the reason of, I don't hire looking for a lead sourcer. I hire looking for a VA is a nice person in general, and that has a good reason for one to work long term, and that I can see that I can, that they can stay on for long term, because I don't want somebody to stay on for 2 months and then say, I want to leave now. So when I find that, I then decide after that what job I want them to do. So I'll train them up on some aspect of the agency that is lacking or that needs somebody else to work on it. So first off, it was lead sourcing, then it was Upwork, then it was managing my LM list and communications. And then it was now what I've just recently done is started looking for I started hiring for looms. That's a big task that'll take a lot more time. But the stuff that I said before should be your priorities for delegating after you have some cash flow coming in.
So what you look for in these people is just people that can be coachable, right? You don't look for any specific hard skills, right?
So definitely don't look. For me, I only see it as a hindrance for looking for somebody, especially for lead sourcing. And take that for an example. If you look for somebody that is a lead sourcer and say, I want somebody to find me leads, then you'll get all these people that already have their own rubbish methods of finding leads. They might be using lists. They might be using the same list for somebody else that as for you as well. So you might be just sending out emails and wasting your time to this absolute rubbish email list. So for me, I never go out hiring for the sake of, unless it's like a media buyer or email marketer. I never go out for the reason or the sake of hiring somebody for a specific role. I'll maybe put, if you should have an interest and you should have skills within this, kind of like you should have, like, if you're a social media manager, you should have an interest in social media. You should have an interest in design. But apart from that, I say that I don't want you to have experience. I don't want you to have clients or a portfolio. I want you to be able to see this job as a long-term job, and I want you to see that you are coachable and that I can teach you, because I don't want anybody doing the tasks any way different than what I would have done it. Like I said, the goal for me is so everybody in my team is a clone of myself, but it's just them doing it, not me. That was my goal, and that's what I've done. And I definitely recommend that you guys do it the same way.
A really good question, right? That someone has on the chat. And I think it's a really valid one, is the fact that when you start out, it's kind of weird, right? Because you start hiring people that are technically more experienced than you in many areas of marketing, at least in a very small vertical, right? They may be years ahead of you, right? So how do you guys, essentially change your mindset for that not to be awkward? Or how do you guys prepare for that conversation where you have to hire someone who's technically much more experienced, right? But you're just starting out. Like, how was that transition? What are some of the mental modes that helped you guys say, like, hey, I'm worth these type of people to work in my team. Like, I know I can attract these people to my team.
When I first started, it was quite difficult because obviously I had like zero experience in marketing whatsoever, and I didn't really know anything about e-com either. But as time went on, it was more so my team that kind of helped me overcome this, because they were like, oh, by the way, like, you actually do add a lot of value. And I was like, oh, do I now? and then something in me at one point kind of just clicked, and I was like, oh yeah, actually I do, because I do all of these things. And at the end of the day, I'm the only one that's bringing in business for the company. So it's like, well, if I'm bringing the business, then it's like, yeah, I'm definitely valuable, like, absolutely. And then now I'm actually going backwards in terms of I'm actually trying to take everything on myself now more. So I have an appointment setter still that I work with, but I do the outreach myself now as well. And I do want to take on a couple clients for email for just me to handle in terms of the copywriting and the strategy, and then the actual account management side of things as well. So the only thing on the service delivery side that would be outsourced is the graphic design. And the reason why I wanted to do that is because I want to get good at the craft itself, as opposed to because last year the thing that I kind of made a mistake on was I just kind of relied too heavily on external media buyers, and there was no kind of like, I didn't build any skill in that sense in terms of actually delivering a service. So yeah, this year I don't want to make the same mistakes in terms of just knowing theory. I want to have like practical experience under the belt, and I'm actually working on a few decently big deals but it's just because the only reason why I've been able to sign bigger companies is literally just because I don't have that higher overhead. I can give more wild guarantees and then just kind of see how it goes and then see how well I just basically throw myself into the deep end like I always do. And I feel like that's super exciting.
What are some of, I mean, maybe you don't want to share them, but what's like the wildest guarantee that you're putting on your service?
Nothing too crazy, but it's just like, for example, a multi 8-figure company, I guarantee them a fat percentage from their emails, and and I charged them like crazy low fees to the point where I was like, would they maybe not close just because they think I'm gonna like scam them? Because normally, because I don't have that overhead, I just want to get the case studies right now. I'm literally just like, let me do it and prove to myself that I'm not doing this for the money by just breaking even and actually not making money on this. Yeah, so I'm actually trying to make less money on purpose to make sure that I'm doing it for the right reasons, as opposed to, I don't know, like closing 5K plus deals a month. And it's really weird because I find it much harder to close like a 1.5K now as opposed to a 5K, because I know closing it at 5K makes sense. It's just I want to try to not do it for the money and make it very like impossible for me to do it for the money.
I absolutely agree with Boyan, with what he said about the service delivery part. You know, for example, when I was getting started too, I didn't know anything about service delivery and how to deliver the service, how to, you know, run ads. Didn't know anything, right? As a lot of people don't know when they first get started. And I was relying heavily on media buyers and so on. And if I can start from the beginning, I would do that thing differently. So on the long term, things would have been better had I started delivering the results myself. Maybe the first couple of months I wouldn't be making as much money, but then after first 6 months I would have known how to you know, be not only a agency owner but also a media buyer, right? And what happened to me is that I didn't know that the first couple of months, and then I had to come back to it. I had to, you know, after I've been running agency for half a year, a bit more, I had to come back to the service delivery part, learn how to do it properly, you know, like. And then it's just you know, maybe it just slowed me down a bit, but then I started going up. Now if I started there from the beginning, the things would go better, because, you know, everyone in this industry, I mean, it's normal, you know, that's how business is supposed to be, that, you know, you are the owner and people are doing the, you know, your team is doing the work, that's delivering their service, and, you know, everyone's happy. But when they know more than you, which was the case for a long time for me, then I didn't really feel 100% comfortable, right? Because when you don't have knowledge, then, you know, the confidence is not there 100%, right? So one of the things I would recommend to people starting out or who are in the beginning is to learn as much as possible about service delivery, because when first of all, they'll be able to hire a better team, they'll be able to handle everything that comes their way, and on the long term, I would be better on a long term had I started from the beginning, and, you know, maybe this will benefit someone.
Personally, I think there's a balance though. Like I do agree with that. But like I think like it's the both extremes. Like I feel like there's people who like just focus on the sales and don't really like give any thought to the service delivery, right? Like 100% that's going to bite you in the ass, right? I'm not saying that's you, Anton. I'm saying a lot of people in the space, right?
That was me. That was me. In the
I know it was you. I know, because when I met you, I was like, dude, like, you know, we should actually look at the service delivery side of things. And you're like, nah, dude, I'm just focused on the sales. But if you swing too far onto that side, the other side of things is like just doing everything yourself and trying to like learn the craft. I think there's like a really cool balance where you give a shit about the service delivery, right? You jump on calls, you learn from your media buyer, you set up you get very involved on the strategy side of things, like Kasim mentioned, right? You get very involved on the strategy that you can funnel, like you learn more about the holistic side of things, right? Exactly. You know, what the funnel should look like where every single person comes in when it comes to the service delivery side of things. But doing the craft yourself, I think like it slows down so many people, because dude, you're not a media buyer. Like you're an agency owner. Like it's a very different thing. If they want to be a media buyer, like do that, right? It's this stream is probably like not going to teach you like the ins and outs of, but at the same time, like you can learn that, right? But it's gonna slow a lot of people down, I feel, if they go figure out the service first.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. So I'd say I 100% agree with Jaime. I don't totally agree with, like, I don't 100% agree with Boyan and Anton's approach. Just for the reason that some people have different mindsets. So some people just want to be business owners. They just want to start a business that like makes them money. That's exactly me. Like when somebody asks me, should I be doing the ads myself? I say no. I say hire somebody to do it for you. And that's, for me, that's the way a business should be run. Because I'm not, like, I don't want to be labeled as, I'm not a glorified media buyer. I don't want to become one. I don't want to be a social media marketer. I want to be a business owner. This is just one of my businesses. And if you have that same mindset where you want to be a serial entrepreneur, and this is just one of your businesses that you're starting now, then your goal should be hiring the right people and finding the right people to do the task for you. And then, like Jaime said, there's a balance. So I don't just hire people and say you guys do it. I'm not looking at it. Especially when I started out, I hired them before I had a client. I learned from them. I jump on calls with them. I like text them. I'll text them here and there. when it comes to setting up campaigns, I'd ask them, what's the strategy? What are you guys doing here? But like myself, I cannot go into an ad account and make changes, like make big changes. I cannot run the ads myself. I know what's going on when my media buyer changes things. I know how to change from when ads hit a certain point. I know what to do in the theory wise. But actually going in and doing that myself, that I feel that just turns you from a business owner into like more of a glorified media buyer. And for me, who's a person that doesn't want to be working a lot of hours, like if you look at me, in my days, I don't look like I'm running an agency that makes this much, but that's because the way I've done it is that I don't want to be so focused on the service delivery myself. I hire the right people for that, give them the right money, learn what I need to learn to enable to become an expert in terms of the theory and strategy. But in terms of actually delivering the service and going, like ads, like the biggest thing with ads is knowing all of the uses of the ad manager. Knowing what each thing does, that's pretty much like learning a dictionary, and that takes a lot of time. That's a whole huge like task that takes years to properly master. It really is like just looking the same as like learning a language. Like you just look at the dictionary and memorize what each thing does, and then you'll know all the tools for then to make changes to the ads. That's like a harder than building a business. So for me, I didn't want to do that. I just had the right people, learn what I need to learn from them, and then focus on scaling with systems rather than scaling by focusing on service delivery myself. I don't. Whoever likes doing that, if you like doing that, then go ahead for it. If you're like a numbers guy, if you're a data type of guy, then go ahead do that. But for me, I'm not really that guy. I know a lot of people are the same as me. A lot of people get confused whether to run the ads themselves or delegate it straight away. And I always say find somebody that you can trust to delegate it and learn from them while they do it, because it's such a hard task when you don't know anything about it. So yeah, that's what I'd say.
Yeah, look, I just something to add. I do agree with you, but what I mean, just to clarify. So what I was saying is that you don't need to be a media buyer to learn everything, right? What I wish I had is just this decent amount of knowledge about the service delivery, and because that would help me to to explain the service, to deliver the service later, and so on. So you don't have to be a media buyer, but because when I first started, I didn't know anything about it, right? The first couple of months, I didn't know anything, right? And I've been focusing on sales too much. But then I realized after that actually being better closer and having more sales also doesn't depend only on the sales skills you have, but also on the knowledge you have about the service, right? So no, you don't need to be a media buyer if you're an agency owner, but you should have a clear understanding, a decent understanding of what you are going to do, and so you can be able to give some predictions to know if the client is qualified enough, if it's going to be what you're going to be able to do, and so on. So yeah, balance is what I'm looking for too, and that's what the real answer is.
I think adding to that, right, one of the things that I mentioned a lot is like at FOSS, you can actually let the processes speak for themselves, and not because then you don't have to be a sales expert, right? You can say like, hey, here's how we achieve our objective. Here's the exact process that we follow. Here's where different parts come in. But I think there's also in the SME space, there's like this bullshit toxic mentality where if you're not working 6 to 8 hours or 10 fucking hours a day, it's like, oh, you're not really grinding. You're not really growing an online business, dude. Most of the people here in the 10K club and the people that are not here, like they've gotten to that point working way less than that. Simply because I'm not saying we've put in the work. Everyone puts in the work. Like everyone has the grind, right? But that's not what sets people apart, because it's all about the systems. It's all about that, right? And so one of the things that I see is like people almost feel like this guilt, right? In sales calls, right? They feel this guilt because they're not the ones delivering the service. And so when they get tested on the service, you should be able to explain, how you get results and the process and all the stuff. You should have that down to a T, but you should be very transparent as to like, hey, I'm not the one, delivering the ads, and thank God, because I'm not an expert, right? I've got, Chris here who's managed millions, and he actually works for me, and he's going to be running their account. Here's the exact process, the results that we're going to follow. Here's where I come in. Here's my value here, right? The system that I built, the team that I built, the ecosystem, right? But I'm not going to be running the ads, right? And I feel like a lot of people have this guilt where like they get asked about the ads, and all of a sudden they lose that sales call because they start tripping, right? And they start they don't know how to handle that, simply because they are thinking and they feel that guilt of like, I should be the expert at this, and I'm kind of like lying to my client because I'm not the expert that's going to be doing the ads for them. When in reality, if you were straight up with them and transparent, like you would win that deal hands down.
Yeah.
A person mentions, I will say one thing. Besides, when I look at agencies like Right Hook, Sugatan, they're expert like they're experts, the delivery part. Yeah, they're experts, right? Because I do want to mention this. They're experts, but they have an insanely huge infrastructure. In my opinion, way too much for the type of profit that they're making. You're gonna end up like working a lot if that's the case, because the infrastructure is a lot. But if you look at the CEOs and the founders, in fact, I interviewed Sugatan's CEO in the Facebook community. She still focuses on the high impact activities, and she's not really in there doing the ads themselves and all that stuff. They have an incredible team. You were saying, Anton, I cut you off. Or Mike?
Oh, I totally forgot what I was going to say.
No, I was going to ask a question for everyone, kind of to take over, not to take over your. I was going to say for everybody with their agency. Like for me, I mentioned before. I don't know if I see myself being a e-com agency owner, so to say, in the next 5 years.
Yeah.
For everybody else, is that something you feel like you're going to do long term, short term, or do you have any other goals in life that you kind of want to do besides an agency and owner?
Yeah. For me, I've definitely mapped out, not just like to the detail, but I've definitely mapped out what I want the next like 5 to 10 years to look like for the agency. So I want to, this is like I said before, like I want to be a serial entrepreneur. So this is not going to be the business. I'm not going to be known as a social media marketer or like an e-com, like whatever else, e-com marketer. Like I want to take the agency to a spot where it moves away. This is going to go into the details of the plans what I have, but moves away from it's not just like an agency that just runs Facebook ads. It's more of like an e-commerce firm in a way. The same way like somewhat aspects of like Right Hook Digital, Sugatan, some of what they're doing with a bit more like focus on like so definitely 100% moving into kind of the space where you're not just running ads, you're not just like providing a service, you're more just your service is building a brand and scaling them from one point to another. So whatever it takes to do that is what your agency provides or your firm provides, and from there you move on to taking equity in brands. You then move on to like also maybe move on to kind of like become sort of a venture capitalist, that kind of thing. So 100% I want to take the agency to a point where it's making like 10-15 million a year profit the next like whatever 5 to 10 years, and then 100% I'd 100% exit, not in a way that I'd sell. I'd exit in a way that I'd hire a CEO and like hire like the executive management team, and then kind of like give them equity in the agency, but still a whole 100% be in the agency, but be much less of like be like almost like not in the day-to-day, like really only with the extremely high leverage moves. And then I'd move on to start my own brands, look at investments, all that kind of stuff. But definitely next 5 to 10 years, by the age of like 24, 25, I'd probably want to be completely exited from the agency.
Yeah, for me, for example, I think this is a great business. This is the greatest business model, for me. Otherwise, we all wouldn't be doing it, right? So the reason why I think this business is great is because, first of all, once you figure out the service delivery and once your team and your agency can deliver amazing results, it becomes very sustainable and very predictable, income related, right? And there is no, you don't need to worry. Maybe it's some other business, for example, I don't know, consulting, courses business, right? That goes up and comes down, right? So agency is not like that, and that's why I think agency is a very, very good business. Now, every single year of you running agency, you learn more and you get better and you get better. So even at this point, if I want to start something else, I would be at the beginning again. So that's why I feel, and I'm sure that I'm gonna be in this agency model for a long time, because every day, every month, every week, I know more stuff and I'm able to deliver better service. And that being said, the sustainability of the whole business becomes better and it goes up. So that's my opinion about this business.
I think, with an agency, it opens you so many opportunities and so many doors to figure out what you want to do. And, I think we're all at stages where we think we want to know what we want to do in like 10 years. In the next 3 years, it's probably going to be different because we're still figuring out along the way and things along those lines. But the really cool thing is that you learn skills, you have an amazing network. If you work with great clients, that network can turn into mentors and people that might advise you on future ventures of yours. And I think that in that sense, building an agency is great. I myself don't think like the agency model is great, but in 10 years, I don't think I'm going to be like a SMMA owner, if you will. I want to, build like an actual company, which is still going to be what I'm doing today, but offer a different, a variety of services or just products that we can sell B2C, and really building a brand out of it. Again, just like what the future does. I'm sure you've all seen the future on YouTube. If you haven't, if I showed you, you would probably remember. But certain agencies have been able to turn into like legit companies just by building that brand and establishing themselves as like a company that does social media or that helps you do social media. So I don't know. I think with the agency space, it really opens you to many opportunities, and you can kind of decide where you want to go, depending on your needs or wants. And I think, that's the beauty of it.
Yeah. And what about you, Jaime? Since I know you're starting your own e-com brand.
Dude, I feel like I can do anything, man, with the e-com agency skills. Like, and you guys mentioned this as well. Like, you can do whatever you really want, right? Because at the end of the day, and I mention this all the time, right? But at the end of the day, the asset that you build as you're building an e-com agency is the greatest asset that you can own for the next 20 years. Like, every single person and their mom they're going to be selling something online, and if they're not selling it right now, they're going to be selling it in 5 years, right? And so if you are the type of person that can grow things online, like, you're going to be the go-to person. And if you can do that within a specific vertical, like, you've won, right? Where you can build a monopoly agency or whatever you want to call it. So I think that's why I'm so passionate about this. The way I see it, and the way I talk about it is like, I want to build an e-com incubator. And what that means is basically a launch pad for anything that is e-com related, right? I've got the team, I've got, the knowledge, and we can scale things up. And so Tim also mentioned this, right? And we even talked about it in the interview. Like, one of the great things about building the agency is not only the transferable skills that you gain, right? But also the contacts that you meet. And so this next e-com brand that I'm launching, like, I actually met the person who's helping me with the logistics and all that stuff, a client of mine, right? And just met him through the process of building the agency. So, it just goes like that. I think the path that I'm going to take, like, I see myself having the e-com incubator, or e-com, the way I call it, the e-com agency is an e-com incubator, right? And I think I'll have that for like the next 10, 15, even 20 years, right? Now, it'll take different shapes. I think, like, right now I'm in the kind of equity phase where I take equity in a lot of the e-com brands that I work with. I take big fat profit deals, and then the next phase is launching my own D2C e-com brands. So it's kind of like different phases, right? And I talk about it in the mentorship. Like, the first phase, until that 15K a month mark, like, you just do clients, right? You do fixed fees, you do ad profit deals, right? And Mike, you know this, right? And then you go into the e-commerce stage, and then in the e-commerce stage, like, you take like equity deals and equity agreements, and then you make that percentage even a bigger portion. And then in the next stage, where you're going from like 50 to $1 million a month, then you start launching your own e-com brands and all that stuff. So that's the way I see it. I think it makes you so agile. It makes you so agile, and you can take it any vertical. Like, even as Tim said, like, you can start your own like content creation and make it more of a publishing company, right? And then have that like fuel other brands and whatever you're trying to do. I think, like, the core skill, if the core skill is just to get eyeballs and things that you're doing, to get more eyeballs on the things that you're doing online, then it's it's incredibly valuable skill.
Yeah. Jaime, I want to ask you this, because I've been wondering, and I think we've all on this call been following each other for a little bit, but you have a huge personal brand, you have a huge agency, and you're starting an e-com brand. How do you do it? Like, yeah, I think like I'm already pretty busy, and you're doing like 10x more than me, and I'm like, how? Like,
and so, here's the thing. I think everyone here is super busy, and that's one of the topics that I wanted to talk about, like how you guys structure all you're doing, because for most people that would break them, right, completely. But at the end of the day, is just wearing the CEO hat, and we talked about this previously, on the mastermind. Like, dude, as long as you're focused on what you should be focusing every single day, instead of like being in the trenches, and focusing on the things that you shouldn't be doing, then you're going to be able to do a bunch of things that are going to move the needle forward. And so it's constantly bringing on. So you bring on more chaos, right? You see where things are breaking, and then you go, can I delegate this? Can I eliminate this, or can I automate this, right? And so that's like the constant process that I'm going through. Is like, okay, now with I want to come back to TikTok, right? Because I wasn't able to do everything at the same time, and quite frankly, it's just something that took a bunch of time, especially mental space. So how can I to an extent delegate that or automate it, right? So I'm getting a lot of the videos like edited with my editor with the ecom brand, right? How can I bring on people? So it's also transitioning from this mindset which I struggle with, which was I want to own everything, right? Like I want to make sure that I maximize profit, to then saying how can I bring on key not partners, right? It doesn't have to be a 50-50 split, especially for the agency. I don't recommend that. But how can I bring on key people that can help me grow, right? And if that means that I don't take as much of the profit, that is completely fine. Because in the long run, like I'm gonna build bigger businesses, I'm gonna make way more money, right? But I'm also gonna be happier because I'm gonna be able to enjoy the money I make and be able to travel and all this stuff. So for me, that's been a big transition, like understanding that like you have to delegate. Like we get it. Until till you get to 10K a month, you can be greedy, you can maximize profits, even like 20-30K a month, right? But as you start to like really scale, you have to trust people, you have to delegate, you have to build SOPs, you have to train people up, right? And then think, how can I add people to the machine? And if it means that I'm taking less profit for each project, but in the whole as the whole pie, I'm making more and impacting more people, and I'm growing bigger things and cooler things, let it be it,
Well, how do you make sense of like YouTube, for example? Because you've been, it's funny, we met a year ago and like we were all at very different stages, and I've seen you build your YouTube. And I mean, I don't know if it makes sense to you financially, but I'm sure it takes a decent amount of time. I've tried it and I'm like, man, this thing is hard. And when you get 200 views on a YouTube video and like 50K on TikTok, so how do you make sense of something that's going to have potential long-term, but you're like hustling every day and not seeing results?
Dude, I think you've mastered this as well, Tim. It's just like you go ahead and you chip away at the ice until it breaks, and it's like it's having the it's not doubting that as long as you put in the work and you stay consistent, it's gonna break. That's why most people cannot sign that first client, because like obviously most people don't have the right guidance, but even if they do, if they don't stay consistent and they don't have the patience to make it work, like, dude, you're not gonna be successful, right? And so when it came to YouTube, like I was so certain that YouTube is the place where you build a personal brand, right? Don't get me wrong, TikTok is great, but I've been doing tests, right? Like, how important are things? That's one thing that I do. Like, I monitor how important is the thing that I'm currently doing for success. Because a trap that I think we get stuck in is like, you are doing something that got you to a certain level, right? So you go, okay, to get to the next level, since this worked previously, I need to keep doing this. But what I do now is like, I monitor, is this really going to get me to the next level? For example, TikTok, right? I was posting like twice a day for like fucking 5 months, right? And that got me to a certain level. But I was like, do I really need this to get to the next level that I want to get, to, right? So I did a little test. I removed it for like a few months, and then my business actually grew exponentially. I'm not saying that's going to be the case for everyone, but it's like you also get attached to things in the journey that brought you success, but that you have to get rid of to access that next level. For example, even as little things as morning routines, right? Like the morning routine that you started out with to get to 10K a month might be very different from the thing that you actually need to get to 100K a month, right? Yet you're stuck with the fucking morning routine because you're like, oh, this got me to this place, so I must keep doing it, right? So yeah, I went all over the place there, but I would say when it comes to YouTube, like just understanding that if you set your mind on something and you constantly optimize, iterate, right? Like I was doing with my editor, like let's test this, right? Eventually it's gonna, things are gonna start going and moving, and then not getting attached to things that you were doing in the past and maybe dragging you now because you still think those bring you results, right? So constantly test, constantly monitor in your personal life, like, is this something that's actually gonna bring me to the next level?
Can I ask a question? Does your personal brand helps your agency grow?
Yes. Like for example, the past two clients, well, not the past two clients, but like one client did come from the personal brand, especially through Instagram. But here's the thing, right? Like not as much as people would think. I am a big proponent of having profile funnels where you post content, and you can have a tiny personal brand, literally hundreds of followers. But if you're in a specific sub niche, like you're gonna have that top of mind. You're gonna cultivate that interaction, and so your messages on social media are gonna land better, right? So I think like you don't need thousands of followers, but one of the things that I'm a big proponent of is like go ahead, post a bit of content, right? Have a very smart strategy where you're not investing a lot of time, but at least you cultivate those interactions, because everyone, I truly believe this, right? Everyone in a few years is going to be in the creator economy, right? In the essentially creator economy, like people who post content online. And if you can get ahead and just have a bit of a presence, right? Or have a say within your industry, number one, you're not going to look as much like a fly-by-night opportunist, and you're just going to have more authority, right? Doesn't mean you have to post hundreds of YouTube videos and slave away and spend all your time creating content, but you do have to have a bit of presence where you talk about your specific e-com sub niche, or you talk about the results you're getting with clients, etc., etc. It's quite important. You don't have to be Gary Vee, right? But I feel like a lot of people also have like this misconception where like it has to be super created, and like it could literally be written content that you're gonna do written content anyways for your cold emails or whatever you're gonna do, right? Make sure that you have a bit of social proof in there with your profile funnels.
So do you think that you can make more on the long term if you have no personal brand at all, versus if you do have a big personal brand? So for example, all that time you spend building your personal brand, if you took all that time and invested into e-com brand or agency, do you think on the long term what's better?
Well, on the long term, it's also playing to your strengths, man, and doing what makes you happy, right? So I don't want to sound cliche, but like I really enjoy creating. Like it's something that keeps me sane, something that I look forward to, because I can get very rational and very analytical, right, with my work. And so doing the creative stuff helps me like just kind of get out of my mind and into my creative thing and do my thing, right? And so would I trade it? No, right? Even if like there's just certain things that if it comes to you naturally, if it comes to you easy, and you're tapping into that like creative energy, right? Then why not do it? Like I feel like there is obviously a predetermined path where this is proven to work, but then once you've made it work, once you're being successful with something, like you can actually tap into your creativity and tap into what comes to you easy. If creating content is that, or if you're really like you love video creation or whatever it is, I think like why not do it?
Yeah.
It also gives you like a safety net, because like Jaime, I saw like a screenshot on your IG not too long ago. Like you start making revenue from YouTube now, like a couple thousands a month, right? And with TikTok, like we've also both made money. So it's also like that safety net that you create for yourself. And your personal brand no one can really take it away from you. You can get shadow banned and all those things, but if you diversify and you have audiences a bit everywhere, like Jaime does, you're like pretty safe. Like your business can fail, something can happen, etc. But your personal brand, no one can take it away from you. And when you have an audience, you can monetize it. So it's always like creating that safety net for you. And then in the future, if you enjoy, having a personal brand and having influence, well, it's always a plus. But just like YouTube or anything, like it takes a long time before you see, like, long time dedication and perseverance before you see tangible results. But it's all worth it. I mean, look at Jaime, he's killing it. So.
Well, but here's the thing. Also, at the same time, like, I don't want people to get an idea like you don't have to have a personal brand to be successful with the agency. Sure. If that's what you're asking, Anton. Like that's also true. Like, I mean, I know a lot of multimillionaires, very successful people, very happy people who literally don't have an Instagram profile, right? But I feel like especially once you fix the money thing, right? Once you get the money in order, now you can start thinking, what do I really want to do, right? And so I really didn't even start creating content. I didn't even have Instagram, right? Until like maybe 2 years ago, right? And so I didn't really start working on things that I was like really, really tapped into until I had the basic needs, until I had the money sorted and all that stuff. So look, like I know people who like want to build their agency and take care of the bills so they can start like painting, right? Or like they can start, I don't know, a brand or whatever it is, right? So different people have different kind of ambitions and what makes them happy. But I think building a personal brand is a pretty cool hobby, and creating content that people enjoy. I think it's as Tim said, it's a pretty cool safety net, because as long as you have eyeballs on the stuff you're doing, then you're really never gonna go hungry. I truly believe that.
Yeah, definitely.
It's funny because sometimes the effort, I mean, I know that, you know, the money that I make on TikTok compared to the effort I have to put in is ridiculous, right? And when I look at the agency, to make the same amount of money, it takes me like a few hours, etc. So I think also in the long term, and that's where you see all those TikTok people, you know, making millions just dancing and doing cringy fuckboy things. You know, then you get to a point where people, I mean, you just have the eyeballs and people are going to pay for that without any effort. So sometimes, I mean, I've sometimes doubted, like, why am I doing this agency thing? Like, I could literally live off of my TikTok and, you know, triple that down, start making some YouTube and, you know, but yeah. I mean, personal brands are cool if you want to, I mean, you have to have the ego for it, but it pays off.
Word.
I mean, for me, like I've just started like through my personal brand, but like for me, like especially with YouTube, a sense of stuff that I'm talking about is like I don't have to put much effort into it. Like mostly all the effort I put into my YouTube videos is just like I maybe come up with an idea of a video and maybe like code in a couple like points of what I want to talk about so I don't miss out anything. Just like 10 minutes, 15 minutes when I'm like sitting down, and then I spend 15 minutes shooting the video and I get it off to an editor. So it's like, even though it's like it's not difficult, like I've got 4 videos out right now, and like I'm really, really happy with this way it's going. Like I'm not going into it with the goal of making any money. Like I don't care about the money whatsoever. I just know that having a personal brand is an asset that you don't want to miss out on. Not for the reason of making money, just for the reason of you'll never know what it can give you in 5 to 10, like 10, 15 years. And then if you start building it as soon as you can, then it means in one way it's good for you because you're documenting the journey and you can see where you come from, and that's so that everybody else can see that as well. But then also if the money comes from it, then money comes from it, and it's just like an additional extra little thing. Like that's just easy money. But yeah, for me it's the same way as a business, man. If you want to, you just have to set up a system. If you want to really scale your personal brand, just set up a system to do it. And I did that with the editor. Like all I do now, like maybe 30 minutes a week max of doing anything for the YouTube channel, and like I can post 1 to 2 videos a week. It's just like the same way.
That's the way.
Yeah.
I was also gonna say, anything that takes a bit of time to build, usually in the long run, is gonna make you a lot more money. And so that's why I have like, and we can maybe like start wrapping up, but that's why I have like mixed feelings with, you know, people who get into crypto and they think like, you know, that's gonna be their thing, right? To like get super rich. It's like anything that is quick, very easy, and almost too good to be true. Like you should probably, I'm not saying you cannot make a lot of money with it, but it's like, I feel like people are attracted to the wrong things, right? Where some things that are not really sexy at first, that take a bit of hard work to build, those are usually the things that you want to seek out if you want to have longevity, right? So again, I'm not saying I'm investing in crypto. Like I'm not shitting on it, but I'm just saying like, if you lost a bunch of money, like I did today, and a lot of us did, right? You better be comfortable losing the money, right?
You haven't lost it.
Okay, I haven't lost it.
You haven't lost it. You haven't sold it.
Whatever, right? I mean, when I make it, I don't even think I'm making it, right? Like, I just like anything that is too easy, too sexy, too quick. Anything that is that type of energy, like you probably wanna tread waters. Like you probably want to be careful with it, right? And sure, you can do it, but don't think that's gonna be your ticket to like riches, right? Usually, the things that are unsexy, that at first take hard work, you have to chip away at it. Like those are usually the things that are gonna really build wealth and really set you up for life. So that's another thing that I would have like for people here. Like if you're watching this and you think the agency thing, like you can do it, and most people here like have seen accelerated results and growth, right? But they've also put in the work and they've also chipped away at it and they had the patience mindset where if it had taken like 2 years, they still would have made it. So that's another thing that I would say on that.
Yeah, definitely. 100%.
Guys, what are you gonna buy on today's discount? Crypto.
Nothing.
Nah.
Me, nothing.
To be fair,
maybe a bit of ADA, but
Yeah, I bought Cardano and I'm pretty happy about it. I got a really good price.
Well, Cardano for me. I mean, I invested in February.
Once it dropped to 0.5, man. Jim, once it dropped to 0.5, then your good price is no longer so good.
No, but I think it's
How much do you?
Sorry, go ahead.
No, Anton, you were saying like how much did you?
Yeah, I said that Cardano was. I mean, it's been going crazy. I invested in February. Since then, it has just been going up. And then I saw other people buying when it was $2, and I bought at 1. And I'm like, oh my god, this is crazy. Like it's gonna go to 5. I was gonna name my daughter Ada. Like I'll give my daughter name Ada if it goes to 10. Like I was literally like, this is cool, man. This is going to the moon. And then it started falling down, and I asked so many people like, what's happening here? Like is it the crash again? And they say, oh, it's not gonna be the crash yet. But the thing is, there is a lot of new people coming to crypto, and all these people commenting on Facebook, and all these people posting on Facebook, and they're posting their opinions, but they are not, they haven't been here for a long time. And then when you're reading all that, listening to all that, everyone can say whatever they want to say. And it's just like maybe what my strategy will be from now on, because the last couple of months I've been watching charts every day, which is not good. It's very easy to get addicted to it, and that's something that I don't want to do anymore. So I want to delete the apps. So I literally deposited some amount that I wanna invest in crypto today because of the discount, and then I'm deleting the apps. I don't want to watch it anymore. Obviously, it's not a business, as we all agree. It's just when you have that feeling that crypto grows. For example, ADA made me so much money since. I mean, today it crashed, but yesterday it was very good. And you're not as motivated to work on your business because crypto is booming. Why would you even go ahead and I don't know, like do the stuff every day? So that's something that bothers me, and I don't want to do it. It's not a great thing. So I want to change my approach with crypto from now on.
Yeah.
Nonetheless,
let me tell you what, man. I think you're much better off putting that money into creating like a D2C brand. That I think, as Mike is also doing. Like literally, because I mean, everyone has the skills. Like, it's just I think building businesses is just the way to go. I'm not saying investing is like not the way to go, but like, why not? Like, I feel like again, it's just this. And again, I'm investing in crypto, right? But again, is this like very short term mindset where I do agree with Anton. It's like it gets you into this just bad energy where you're constantly checking things and you become like a fucking, I don't know, like a neurotic entrepreneur, right? Where if you just invest that money, like investing could also be investing into new brands, into creating brands, investing into new team members, investing into like, I don't know, greater, better apartment, something that's going to make you go faster in your business, right? So that's another thing to keep in mind. Are there any ways that you guys are investing the money that you guys are? And we'll cut with this, but are there any like ways that you're investing your money apart from like investments like crypto or anything like that?
For me, I've been just investing in cameras, old school cameras, different type of, I don't know, fun ventures. I also have started, because you probably didn't know this, but I used to do, I still kind of do solar lead generation. And
yeah, no, I do know. I remember when you updated me on those like solar panel clients.
Yeah, and so did so well with one of them. Now I'm like have equity in one of their franchises. So just investing in those type of different things for me, it's what I'm doing. I'm not heavily. I have some crypto. I'm not the numbers you guys are naming. You guys are lost this morning or down this morning. I'm not. I don't have any. Not close to that amount in there. So it's more of a fun thing for me. And so yeah, I'm just more investing into my passions outside of just business.
That's so good to hear, man.
Yeah,
so fresh.
Yeah, but even though crypto is not the business and so on, I think it has a big potential, and I think it will it has a massive potential, and I think that everyone who knows who is in business, who makes money on a consistent basis, should have some cryptos that will be around a couple years from now. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like
I think my only thing with crypto,
like top 5, because
No, I was gonna say my only thing with crypto is that a lot of people invest in it, and then their way of saying that I made gains is when they sell it for cash again. So it's just like I know the value of cash is is up the
That's a good
dollars
point.
going down. But most of the time, when people, in order to spend that actual money that you make, you have to get it back in the green stuff. Or I guess in America it's the green stuff. You guys have different colored monies.
Another thing I would say on that is like, unless you're investing, let's just say, unless you're investing a million, like, okay, maybe not millions, right? But well into the six figures, the type of gains you're really gonna make are literally like, if you compare that to investing into yourself or investing into other business ventures, is literally a fraction. If you do things well and you actually work at it and you don't give up, right? It's literally a fraction. Because, like, sure, if you invest a fucking, like, I don't know, 2 million and you make 10, like, okay, you make some decent money in like 2 years, right? But if you invest like the 10K that you have into crypto and you expect that to, like, you know, grow to six figures or a million, like, chances are it's probably not, right? And so honestly, in my opinion, if you're investing like less than, like, and I know it's controversial, right? But if you invest in less than six figures, like, honestly, I'd rather put that money into more team members, into just keeping it in cash, into a better apartment, better work setup, better, starting another venture, or what, like, better equipment, an editor, whatever it is, right? Anything, like, there's so many places that people just completely neglect because they're so blinded by, like, oh, I want to make the cash quick. That can make you such greater returns if you look at a 10-year span. That's the way I see. That's the way I see business and investment.
Yeah. And also, I mean, for me, the amounts we are investing, obviously, we are all ready to lose it every day. Like, for example, today it crashed. So what? It will come back up. I mean, I'm not that concerned, and because when I first invested, I thought to myself, I need to be ready to lose it all. And that's the mindset with which I approach the entire thing. So that makes it much easier. But for people who don't have that mindset, who are like, yeah, the only chance for me is if this goes up. If this goes down, I don't even want to think about it. Like, what's gonna happen? And that's wrong, obviously. But if you put it consciously and you know that if it goes down, you're gonna be okay with it. That's different, right? That can pass for me.
For sure.
I think we're like missing a huge thing on how, like, I'm a true believer that crypto is going to change the entire
100%, yeah.
And like, that's like, for me, it's not like gambling, investing. I put 1K in, I'm hoping to get 2K out. Like, I truly believe fundamentally that what the decentralized blockchain and have to offer, etc., is going to change the world. And I'm not here to, like, cash out my Cardano profit when it hits $3, right? Like, I'm holding onto this until, like, I can use it in the real world. And I think we'll get to that point. Maybe it won't be Cardano, maybe it's going to be something else. But I think, like, the technology behind it is so great. Like, I don't know if you guys have seen Cardano Africa, for example, what they did in Ethiopia. That's insane. Like, 5 million people now have digitalized ID and, work history and all of that. When they didn't have papers back then, they need to cross a border or something, they have nothing to show for it. And now it's on the blockchain. I think it's incredible. I think the NFTs are going to revolutionize the music industry and the whole artist industry as well. So I think as long as you don't, try to cash in a quick buck and you're invested for the long term and you see the future of it and you believe in it, I think it's pretty healthy. I wouldn't put my life savings into it. I know some people that do that. But yeah, I love crypto. That's for sure.
Yeah, just one more thing. So Jaime, you said that you should invest in equipment and business and so on, and I absolutely agree with that. I think you should invest in both. Like, you need to be investing in business and in equipment and in teams, in the team, and in everything that will make yourself, even yourself, your business better. But also, why not do both, right? Whatever you can invest in that will potentially make you better. Why not, right?
Yeah. True. I just think crypto fucks, like, it just really messes up my flow. That's just me personally. Like, it's just not the type of energy, like, trading and it's just not for me, man. Like, it's neurotic, it's stressful. Like, you have very little control. Again, I'm invested, right? And I think as you said, like, the key is just to, like, not even look at it, right? But I think there's more beauty in, like, there is always a cost to something, right? And so 100% still I'm invested, and I think it is a good idea to be diversified, but I think there's always a cost to things, whether it's with your mental health, whether it's with, like, the opportunity cost of that money. You're not having it or whatever it is, right? So as much as there's always like, oh, why not do as much as possible? Like I do believe that you do have to consider that as well.
Sure.
100%.
Any final questions? Because I think at this point we're probably any final comments, anything at all. So at this point I think it's just gonna be me talking, and everyone's gonna be gone. But no, look guys, I really appreciate you for coming on. I think it's gonna be it's been a really good talk. I'm very happy and proud of having you guys in the 10K Club, and hopefully we can make this more of a thing. I do wanna host some shit at my place here in Madrid. I do wanna make this more of a mastermind thing where we like talk about the future and DTC brands with Mike as well, and like crypto and whatever you guys are doing, right? And I think that's really cool to have like-minded people. So I appreciate every single one of you.
100%, bro.
For sure.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
All right, I'll see you guys in the next one. All right.
See you soon. Bye.
All right.
Bye, bro.
All right, guys, that is that for the 10K Club. Do leave in the comments a big thanks to every single member involved. Now those are members of essentially members of my mentorship. So the 10K Club are all the people that have in most cases been gone from 0 to 10K plus per month with their agency and gone on to not only create an incredible agency, but look into other things, like for example now starting their D2C or ecom brands and all that stuff. So if you guys are interested in not only making money online, right, but actually leveling up and real, building real businesses and getting to this incredible club, then go ahead and check out the link in the description on YouTube. That is a link to my application call for the mentorship. Go ahead and fill it in. Do give it your best effort because we're quite particular with the people we do let in, and we'll cancel quite a few of the calls simply because I think there's no more slots until June. But apart from that, if that is not for you, because it is not for most people, I really hope you guys took a lot of value away from this. And I will speak to you guys in the next video. So peace. Appreciate you. Bye bye.